Hey guys, what's going on? Zach Evanish here with my buddy Paul Collodi, New Jersey High School Strength Coach Podcast. I'll also copy this. This will also go to the Strong Life Podcast. And before we kick it off, reminder, Underground Strength Con registration is open. Early bird discount ends the end of September, so we got about a week before that. And Paul got a new mic.
I
Sounds like
got
a
a new mic.
it sounds like a pilot. I feel like I'm on an airplane. It's great. So, Paul and I have three topics we want to talk about. First one is the football incident at a high school where the kid, I believe, I don't know for sure from what I've read, had his T-spine fractured. I'll actually
Mhm.
do a screen share of that. We'll talk about the necessity for strength training. Paul and I consistently talk about athletes struggling to compete, kind of a lot
Yep.
of quitting. Very interesting times. I touched on that a little bit doing an Instagram live. And what was our third? Third topic was going to be kind of along those same lines, Paul, about how many kids don't or their parents kind of make an excuse for them to not have time to strength train. I'm on my own program.
Yep.
And when I brought that up, I must have gotten 20, 25, 30 messages on Instagram of strength coaches in schools struggling with the same thing. So let me do a quick screen share of the football player who was injured. Let's see if I could do this. Screen share, close the emails. And here is Instagram. Can you see my screen, Paul?
Yeah, man.
All right, so we're going to scroll down. I evidently post too much. Right here, came across this, and while I came across that, Paul, also I was listening to Brian Bott and Dean Manchi's podcast, Get the Edge podcast. Those guys are great. I think you were on their podcast, right? A
Yep.
year ago. Dean said something interesting about how kids don't respect the work, they don't respect the game. And I know
Yeah.
it makes us sound like these old cranky guys, but we're stating the facts. So let's watch this video. Okay. So you could see the kid's in the air. He got tackled right here.
Hmm.
Kid gets up, way bigger. That kid's about 315 that jumped on him. Tackles him and bang. And I believe there, I think fractured his T spine. It says spine fractures. I saw a video of the mom on maybe YouTube, and she's in absolute shock. I think parents are in shock when this stuff happens. I'm going to end the screen share here. What parent obviously wouldn't be in shock? But then you have guys like us. People may not know that, Paul, not only are you the National Strength Coach of the Year for NHSCA, but you're also an athletic trainer.
Yep.
Um, so a lot of people don't realize how many injuries you've seen. But I try to explain to people, listen, some of these kids are legit going out to hurt you. They don't
Hmm.
really honor the sport and respect the game. They're not really worried about good sportsmanship. And sometimes coaches, parents, and even administration is turns a blind eye to these kinds of things.
Hmm.
And more than anything, you and I always talk about our job is to protect the athlete. We have to protect them. And so that's why we get a little bit disturbed when we know and hear from athletes and their parents saying, hey, he's training with Johnny's uncle in the basement. His uncle, played D1 football.
Yep.
I coached at the D1 level. Those guys are not knowledgeable at all about strength and conditioning. They were great athletes, amazing in their sport, but they don't understand the ins and outs of strength training. And so it's interesting when kids want to go to the local gym. We tell the parents it looks a lot like being at home on the couch, except instead of laying on the couch with their phone, they're now laying on machines.
Yeah.
And this kid got hurt, and I know this. That athlete actually did prepare properly. Even when you do all the right stuff, there's still a chance of injury.
Hmm.
And as you know, there's always one or two outliers that do all the wrong stuff and succeed at a high level. They vape, they smoke, they drink, they skip workouts, but they're freaks. They're genetic freaks. They're very, very talented. They are the outliers. But sometimes that sways a kid who's in the middle and says, you know what? John Smith and Susie Smith are always partying and they don't show up for training. Maybe I don't need to. And so to me, it always comes down to what is best for the athlete, Paul,
Yeah.
and kind of
I,
heartbreaking to see dads who are not qualified to be strength coaches pulling kids from programs. Um, Coaches who have private facilities like myself, we do not pull kids from their program. We always say, train with your team and then let us know what you did at school, and we will try to complement what you're doing with your team. And we also say, if your coach ever wants to come to the underground, see what we do. Doors are always open. I've not experienced that at Middletown South. I have not experienced coaches saying, "Hey, man, what are you doing there? So, we're training John Smith. We'll complement what you're doing." I don't
Mhm.
hear that. It's unethical.
Well, I want to go back to those kids who maybe are the outliers. I see that as a lot of times they're only doing what they want to do on the field. So, say it's a pass rush and it's just a regular pass rush and they're not involved. They're not coming off the end. They're not more than one blitzing. They may go half-ass on that and not really put themselves in harm's way. But then when it's up to them or like a receiver or a running back and they're not getting the ball, they may go half-ass on that. So you get the true competitors who every single play are sticking their nose in, blocking, tackling. There's more of a chance with that, absolutely. But I think some of these outlier kids, it's all about them, and it's 50% effort. It's 100% effort when it's about them. It's
Yes.
50% effort when it's not about them. So their risk chances go way down when that happens because they're not sticking their nose in. They're not playing the tough game. They're just playing their game. And and I see that in all sports with soccer players, the player who's up top who just has to make a run with the ball. They're not getting in, they're not slide tackling, they're not dropping for defense. And then they're the first ones to throw their hands up in the air when things aren't going right. That's to me, that's the lack of competitiveness. And, competitors want to be involved in the play every single time. They want to look at you. You can see it in their eyes, and you look at them and you see it in their eyes like, yeah, we got this. I don't see that a lot anymore. Like you don't see those kids. You don't see those kids on the mat that, go out of bounds, come in and they're looking at the coach like, yeah, this point's mine. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's not there anymore. I take it back. It is there, but it's a lot less than it used to be.
Right. And so the noise that takes up the most space is the negative
Hmm.
athletes, the negative parents, the people that blame the coaches, the people that are not involved in the program, yet they're telling you how to run your program.
Hmm.
And, I always tell kids, hey, if I say it to you, I'd say it to my son. If I
Yep.
say it to you, I would say it to my daughter. So if you're not working hard and I have to get on you about it and I eventually have to ask you to leave, I would do the same if that was my son or daughter.
Hmm.
And I've said those things to my kids. Listen, don't complain about the game. You don't like it, hit the ball out of the park, throw more strikes,
Yeah.
do your job, and I will support you and get you the coaching and training you need to do those things. And I think we see too many parents, if their kid is not getting the action in the sport, whatever that sport is, they blame the coach.
Hmm.
And I think we're missing a lot of responsibility on the kids. And when you mention lack of competitiveness, you and I wrestled in high school. I've been saying this for a good couple of years. When I look at wrestling, um, 75% of the matches end in a pin in about 90 seconds. They
Yeah.
don't even go the full match. And when I was in high school, if one person got pinned in the whole match, the next day, we would get destroyed in practice. We were taught to fight off our backs. We were taught losing is not good. Fight back. And I'm also seeing kids quitting sports more than ever before for two reasons. One, travel sport burnout. They're just so disillusioned with going to endless travel practices, travel teams, and not getting the coaching and playing time. And I'll say the same thing. I've experienced it. We pay for travel, and I told my son, I'm not doing this no more
Mhm.
because nobody actually coaches you. And if you're ever hurt, nobody checks in on you. But guys like you and I, we tell kids, if you're hurt, show up. We'll work around that injury. Arm hurts, broken hand, elbow messed up, ankle messed up, upper body, one arm, upper body, lower body, single leg, lower body. We find a way. And seeing so many kids quit sports now because they just don't want to compete, I think a lot of it is this: the phone
Hmm.
adds convenience and dopamine hits and comfort. So, I don't want to go out to eat. I'll just press a few buttons. They'll
Yeah.
deliver it.
Huh.
That girl is hot. I'm not going to walk up during school and ask her to the dance. I'll just follow her on these social apps and, maybe send a message, but
Hmm.
no guts to go up and, public speaking, talk to that girl. So the phone has maybe connected more people, yet also disconnected more people. And I feel the athletes are struggling to communicate because they communicate through the phone. So in groups, I will see athletes not coaching somebody on the squat rack or on the bench press because they're so used to just the noise that comes through the phone. So we're
Hmm.
going through a lot of, in my opinion, strange times. I think I saw Tom Brady post an Instagram video talking about lack of physical development. But what we see is a high skill level for kids with travel teams, but they have a high skill level, but they struggle on reaching potential because they're so fatigued from all the practices. They just don't have the energy to go to strength training. Um, they have high skill level, but low strength and physical preparation and durability. So they're consistently hurt, consistently injured. And when I was at Rutgers and Lehigh, the kids that succeeded higher did not show up as the best. They just continued to grow and work for it.
Hmm.
Rutgers had a large amount of kids that were state champs, state runner-ups, who came to the school and then never stepped on the mat. They quit before the season started, or they went for 2 to 4 weeks. And it just goes to show you, here comes the struggle. I ain't doing it. I'm
Yeah.
quitting. And that is heartbreaking to see. And as a parent, we could train our kids to avoid struggle by always pulling them out of tough situations
Yeah.
rather than teaching them how to do, how to handle and overcome the obstacles.
Well, again, we're tracking all the successes. That's all you hear. Like, all right, well, weight on the bar and bar speed and all of those things, and we're tracking takedowns and wrestling. How about we track this? How about we track when we go to our back, how many times do we get off our back?
Oh, yeah.
So, so throughout the match, you could have somebody on one of your statisticians, a little square that says GTB, gone to back, and they can check it. And then they can check, did they come off their back? So and we track takedowns. How about we track if they get taken down? Because we have kids who take them down, let them up all the time. What if they get taken down? How many times do they get out of that within 10 seconds? Like, are they so upset about getting taken down and competitive about it? Do they get right up and escape? Or or do they get ridden out? Like, do they put their head down? Like, that's the grit part of it.
I
That's,
saw that this summer. I went to summer duels and I was not impressed with wrestling.
mhm.
Nobody with a first move on bottom, which is basic wrestling 101. Hand
Yeah.
control, wrist control, keep moving. I didn't see that with rising seniors, not even. And kids getting somebody shoots in on them and not even a good sprawl, whiz or crossface. They just lay over them and grab an ankle. And I told you, you were athletic trainer at Atlantic City State Tournament for wrestling.
Mhm.
I was like, this is the first time I ever did not like watching wrestling. All this rolling around looking like alligators, not so much who is more technical or who is stronger, who's willing to hold on longer and blow out their ACL to get the point
Yeah.
and to get that takedown. And this sounds very basic, but it's more complicated than it sounds. Athletes are really not strong anymore,
No.
and they don't like the basic strength work that delivers the best results. They like the machines. They like the bodybuilding. And just like in wrestling and in football, you must master the basics. And basketball. What do basketball players do? They go out on the floor, free throws, layup, rebound. What should wrestlers do? Double leg takedown, sweep single, snap and spin, stand up, cradles. And I always say Jordan Burroughs shoots double leg takedowns, and so do you. But
Hmm.
he's a world champion and gold medalist. Um, Gable Stevenson won Olympic gold with a go behind. We teach that if you're in kindergarten, sprawl,
Yeah.
push the head
Spin.
down,
Yeah.
because
Sprawl and spin.
that's it. And people don't know that's too simple. Well, basic strength training, when I look at our best athletes, Paul, whether it's current day or the best athletes I worked with were Scotch Plains and Edison. We had kids winning a lot in
Hmm.
lacrosse, football, wrestling, all kinds of sports, fencing, crew. We don't have it as much in Manasquan. I think it's because a lot of distraction. And we don't have the consistency like I had in Edison and Scotch Plains. Like John Posnanski, state champ, four-time All-State. What did he do? Yale Street Wrestling Club, Underground Strength Gym, and he had another guy, Harry. I forget Harry's last name. I'm sorry about that, but he had three coaches. He did not jump around. Commitment, consistency.
Yeah.
Edison wrestlers, um, they went to one club. There was not too many wrestling clubs. They didn't go to two or three clubs. They did strength training 3 days a week, sometimes more, and often stayed after another 30 minutes to an hour doing more strength work,
Hmm.
like adding more work on their own. Today, show up late, leave early, and I'm too busy. I've told parents, and I know it offends them, but I can't bite my tongue on it anymore. I'm too old to be bullshitting them.
Yeah.
Is it's actually criminal when your kid is a wrestler or football player and you pull them from strength training. It's criminal and insanity. And that kid who got his T-spine fractured from a kid jumping on him, that kid looked like he weighed 160 who got hurt,
Yeah.
maybe 170. His opponent is double his weight at 315. You must be strong. You must build body armor. No tip tap dancing around a bunch of dumb cones would have helped that kid. Okay. And it's a shame because I guarantee the kid that got hurt is probably the kind of kid that shows up. He's a
Hmm.
program kid. He does the work. And then you got kids that break the rules and want to hurt you. And I think you got to be prepared for that. That is the hardest thing as a dad is to tell your kid. I remember having to tell my kid when he played Little League baseball. I said, you know why you're not starting on All Stars? Because daddy doesn't hang out with these guys at the bars. And so you're
Hmm.
going to have to work 10 times as hard and be 10 times as good as those kids. Because when they strike out and stomp their feet and slam the bat, they don't get sat out. They will play the whole game. If
Yeah.
you strike out, you will not play that whole day. And so it broke my heart to tell my son that not only will other kids try to hurt you, adults will also hurt you.
Hmm.
And that's why I always say it's my job to protect these kids because if you get hurt, I have to sit at a table with your parents and explain to them you don't show up, you're not listening, you're not working hard, you never add weight to the bar, you oppose coaching, and that toughness and grit, the only way to get it back is to lean into tough things and to
Lean into the hard.
do hard shit, train hard, hard
Yep.
strength training. And I love the fact that I have all these old YouTube videos, Paul, from 2006, because I look back at that and I wasn't as intelligent as I am now, but maybe that was an advantage
Hmm. Well,
because we
uh,
worked
I,
so hard.
I don't know much about, the kid who jumped on him, but, you said two words before, commitment and consistency. And I'm going to add one more to that. That's discipline, understanding the right versus the wrong, like on the platform or in the game, like not knowing in that moment what that's going to do to his team. So, it's going to set his team back not only 15 yards, but he could get ejected from the game. And what if he's one of the better players? Like, if he's doing his own thing all the time and he's not getting that discipline from his coach, his
Hmm.
strength coach, and from his teammates, How's he gonna once that switch is hard to turn on? I don't care what anybody says. You don't just turn that discipline switch on when the crap's hitting the fan. You know what I mean? That's that's the part of the weight room that is underestimated as far as I'm concerned, that people have to, when they're getting coached hard, how do they respond? What's that competitiveness like? And I'm going to throw it out to coaches too. I don't think our coaches are as competitive as they used to be, because I hear it all the time. Oh, as long as they're doing something, all they're doing at that point is inheriting hope. And for me, hope isn't a strategy. I hope our players come in great shape. No, why not be a part of that? Why not be a part of their off
Yep.
season and that grit and understanding that, hey, if you have Zach Evanesh as your strength coach, 24/7, 365, that's a program that I want my kids a part of. I don't want to hope that they're doing the right thing somewhere else,
Yep.
or, you know, getting faster. Yeah, you know what? Kids are going to get faster if they go somewhere else, but are they going to get that grit and discipline and consistency day in and day out like they would get in your weight room? Doubt it. And that's part of the competitiveness as well. And it's frustrating as a strength coach, but you just keep trying to make them believe that this is where they should be. And maybe we don't have that kid jumping on top of that kid because he understands that that's not the right thing to do in that
We
moment.
don't do that. That's right. What are our standards? I
Hmm.
remember Coach Nooch, Steve Antonucci said, we lose the same way we win. We don't throw our helmet. We don't curse. We
Yeah.
don't blame the helmet. He's like, I'll take the blame. And it's interesting. The truth is, and this is the truth. You know, a lot of kids can't get reprimanded because their parents will sue the school, will
Hmm.
threaten the administration, and that opens up a massive negative can of worms of poor behavior, poor discipline, poor consistency. And you told me when you got, doing interviews, I would love to be on the board that interviews coaches and ask them about culture. A
Yeah.
lot of people talk about it, they read books about it, but they can't build it because they ignore the bad stuff rather than actually saying, we don't do that here.
Hmm.
Period. End of story. If you do that, there will be repercussions. You will sit a game. If you continue to do it, you will be off the practice field for a week, and continue to do it, you will not be. And just like I said way back in the day about my gym, I'll burn my gym down before I allow mediocrity to seep through those walls. And I don't want to be around athletes who don't take pride in their school, whether I'm in the college sector, the high school sector, and taking pride in doing the right thing. I see a lot of people after Charlie Kirk's assassination posting all this stuff about Charlie Kirk. What a great guy, what a great man. But they themselves don't live it, but they're
Hmm.
saying this guy does it. And so, step one is okay, if you admire what somebody else is doing, then you need to live it. It's all what you do. And I think a lot of people today, they talk about stuff, but they don't actually live it. And that saying of you want to make people happy, sell ice cream, don't be a leader. Leaders have to stand for something. They
Yep.
can't keep letting everything slide. So if you want to uphold ethics and work ethic and commitment and pride to your school, your program, your team, whatever it is, then uphold it. Don't
Hmm.
talk about it and then you do something sneaky when nobody's looking. Because unfortunately, that happens a lot in the sport arena and the strength and conditioning arena. Meaning, I go back to I've had the underground strength gym since 2002. I never told kids, hey, F your school, skip your school, come train with me. I've never done that because I always knew that kids training with their team is absolutely crucial for their own success and the team's success. And it's, in my opinion, I don't know if the word is unethical. It ain't cool to disappear and then only show up when the season starts because, oh, now it's mandatory. You need to be told when to train with your team, or is your
Yeah.
team important enough for you to do that? And I don't need credit for what these kids achieve, but it is heartbreaking when the kids are forced to do something somewhere else and they're just not getting results.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it's a shame because time is the one thing we never get back. So if you force kids into a program or you allow them to do a program that doesn't really deliver results, they don't get to come back and redo that. Eventually time is over for these kids. And that's part of our job. Protect the kids, do what is best for the athlete. It's really an oath that coaches should have, like police have an oath, protect and serve. Teachers should have an oath, do what is best for the kids. It's interesting that in sports, whether it's the sport coach, strength coach, we don't see a lot of the ethics. And to me, it makes the profession look bad. That's why I take a stand for it and we do these podcasts. People might say, "Man, you sound negative." I'm standing for doing the right thing to
Yeah.
not hurt other kids. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I stole something and I used it the other day from your buddy Joe Riggio. And at Underground Strength Con last year, he talked about flying flags. And he said the only flags he flies are his family flag and Varsity House. And he said, that's you'll only see me wearing that. And I said that to the kids the other day. I said, what flag do you fly? Like you talk about Johnny Povs the other day. He flew three flags. He flew Colonia, Underground Strength, and Yale Street. That's it. He
Yep.
didn't have a whole flagpole of flags going down there, what he
Yeah.
did. He was consistent with it. And I told our kids the other day, what flag are you flying? Because I can tell you right now, I wake up in the morning, I care about my family, I take care of them. But when I put the HC on, that's what it's all about. It's about you and building that culture, that community. If you're not building that, if you're not, why are you putting the uniform on? If you want to take the team and go somewhere else and do something and don't build culture, but you're having fun doing it, but we're not doing anything to make the HC any better, why are you doing it?
Why are you even on a team? I thought
Yeah,
you're on a team to get coached and to be
correct.
part of something.
Yep,
And it's quite interesting how um, a lot of athletes today, they're on a team, but you tell them to squat lower, you tell them to show up more, they're offended
yep,
by you telling them to do something that will get them better.
better.
And so I say, "Oh, I'm sorry I offended you. Would you prefer that I tell you and encourage you to squat halfway down and to not show up? Is that what makes us better?"
Hmm.
Or see, coaching, I understand this like new wave of coaching. Connect with the kid, show them you care. Sometimes we're getting past that. We don't have the time to keep putting our arm around them. Sometimes we got to get straight to the point and say, "Listen, you're not here, barely ever. When you
Hmm.
are here, you are a problem. You are a distraction. You're not a contributor to the team." And sometimes that's oh, he's mean to me. No, I'm just stating the facts
Truth.
because your actions are taking away from the betterment of the team. And to me, that's always something I can't agree with. Just like, you know, private strength coaches and local dads who will tell their kids, don't train at the underground, don't train at Hunterdon, don't train at Mid South. I'll do it. I'm better.
Hmm.
Um, what kind of example are you giving as a father and as a strength coach, a coach of a private facility? You are a mentor, but you're creating separation. You're doing something that feeds your ego when what you're saying is it's about the people we are serving, but a lot of people are serving their own ego. And I think we got to get back to tougher coaching and tougher training because that is the only way to better prepare these kids for sport and life. And both of you and I coach at a public school. We compete against private schools.
Hmm.
Private schools are getting kids who are reclassing, who have been doing the training for years before they got there. They're ahead of the curve. We know that if we don't prepare our athletes, it's dangerous for them. It's a liability. And so we need to get it done.
Hmm.
And it ain't going to happen by putting our arm around them and ask them how their grandma is. And we have to get to the point and train and put in the work and operate as a team, as a unit. And if we beat around the bush, it ain't happening.
Yeah, you were going in the direction with that, what like what you put in your email this morning, like develop growth strategies for your business, like talking about how we can do that. And again, these kids should have growth strategies. And the growth strategies that I work with Jeremy Boone when we talk about leadership is truth, trust, and toleration. First of all, there's got to be the truth. You don't show up enough.
Yep.
You just don't. You're not consistent enough to get better. Or you're so talented that you don't spend the time getting stronger or finding the ways to improve that because you're already good. You know what I mean? And then trust. Once you get on that process, you have to trust that process. Give it time. You know, I know that there's some programs that when you purchase them, you got to purchase a 3 month subscription because they want to know that it doesn't take a month. After a month, if you don't see results, we're not quitting. I want to see
Oh,
3 months.
I'm quitting. I don't know if I could do this for more than a month.
Yep.
My schedule, my this, my that. You got time. You're spending
Yeah.
4 to 8 hours a day on your phone. You either
Hmm.
want it or you don't. Don't
Yep.
say that, Zach. You're offending the kids. You're offending the parents. I don't care. If parents are not intelligent enough to understand that being in sports like football, lacrosse, wrestling, even baseball, all these UCL injuries, does your does what does your travel coach do when your son is injured? Do
Hmm.
they put together a rehab program, or are you ignored and that's
Yeah.
it, left behind? And you know what? Listen, when we have athletes at the underground gone for 2 weeks, we call and text and email, and a lot of those parents don't even respond. We're reaching out, checking up on you, and you
Hmm.
still don't care. And to me, that's an epic fail as a mom or dad because you're
Yeah.
on your phone all day. You can't just say, "Hey, Paul is busy. Can we get in?" They're just everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and that ain't working. That's not building teams. You want to
Yeah.
win, team.
As a program, that's a rudderless ship. Nobody's rowing in the right direction. And the last thing, and I told this to our freshman the other day, who as seventh and eighth graders didn't win a football game, and now they've won two out of their first three
Nice.
because there's a process. They're believing in that. Now I said, what are you going to tolerate? What are you going to tolerate that's not keeping us going in the right direction? What you tolerate, you promote. So now if you fall back and have some of those bad habits come back, are you going to tolerate that as a teammate, or are you going to say, hey, wait, we're in a good direction. Why are we doing that again? Get off of that. You know what I mean? Going to bed at 2 in the morning or doing whatever, spending that 8 hours on your phone. What
Yeah.
that should be now off the grid.
You're in bed at 10:30, but you're on your
Yeah.
phone till 1 a.m.
Hmm.
That ain't working. Yeah,
Yeah.
what the lack of athletes today don't know how to call out another athlete because those athletes get offended by it. I
Hmm.
remember asking Coach Nooch, I said, Coach, why? Like, what was the thing that stands out for you when you guys were winning state titles? He said, if a kid was messing around, I didn't have to do anything. Another kid would say, get on the line, run sprints. Now, I don't like to punish with exercise ever. I think exercise and training is the gift. But
Hmm.
when your teammates do it, it's like a sign of you're not doing the work. Do it now. And so we are really missing that.
Yeah.
And
And
with,
you hear him say, "Oh, that's my boy." I can't call him out. If he's really your boy and your friend, when you call him out, he's
yeah,
gonna go, "You know what? I respect that, and I'm gonna go with it." If he's really your boy, if he tells you "F you" and makes it a problem, was he your boy in the first place? You know
that's
what I
right.
mean?
He's your boy when the times are good and it's
Hmm.
convenient. Who's showing up when there's water in the boat and helping you get the water out of the boat?
Yeah.
And you and I are both parents. Our kids are quote unquote getting old, older. Your kids are out of college, in college, seeing mine, high school, college. Um, you can't always be, I get it, like trying to be their best buddy. I had to say to my son, I said, man, I gave you choices here with sport and who you're getting coached by. It ain't working. So guess what? Now I'm making the decisions. And I think it's funny that I've experienced dads who are like, my kid just wants to go to the gym with his friends. And every time they do that, I watch those kids fall below their potential
Yeah.
all the time. And it's like, it's funny how just twice a week strength training and driving 30 minutes each way kills kids. I'm missing out on my social life. I didn't experience that in Edison, and that's why those kids won a lot more than our Manasquan kids. Our Manasquan kids get pulled. I have no time. You're at the beach all day. You don't have an hour, 3 days a week to prepare for your sport. He's so busy, he can't do it. Oh, local dad is going to train him in, Jimmy John's basement. He's the expert. And you're a dad and you're okay with that? Parents, it's like they're afraid to draw the line with that behavior, but they're not afraid to be on all these travel teams where you're like, you're just you're just a piece of the pie. They don't care if you're here nor there. And it's like, as a dad or a mom, you need to start making decisions that have some urgency because before you know it, your kid is in the end of his or her high school career.
Yeah.
And those years were either productive and forming them into someone, or they were a waste of time. And time, the days might go by slow, but the years go by fast. And before you know it, you're either like, oh crap, I didn't get all this work done those 3 years. And that's also the truth, Paul, is, you're talking about that program of a 3 month minimum. I'm looking at kids today because they don't sleep enough and eat enough. Progress takes much longer. And so let's say you gain a pound a month, 12 pounds is nothing, but
Nope.
24 pounds in 2 years starts looking good.
Yeah.
36 pounds in 3 years looking good. 50 pounds in 4 years looks even better. But what if instead of 1 pound, you're simply at a pound and a half a month? So now we're at 18 pounds in a year. We're at 36 pounds in 2 years instead of 24.
Hmm.
And it takes time. And that was the thing is in Edison and Scotch Plains, we had a lot of middle school kids who stayed with us all through high school. So I'd watch them go from 75 pounds to 100. 100 pounds is still small.
Yeah.
125, looking good. You're in eighth grade. Boom. Now you get to high school, you're 150. You are double the weight that you were from 3 years ago. But I don't see that in Manasquan, and I'm not afraid to say it. These parents need to know the lack of commitment, the lack of consistency is exactly why you keep struggling.
Yeah.
And I get it. Not everybody wants to compete in college. 5 or 6% compete in college. Well, why don't you just be great where you are now? That's like saying, Paul, why don't you just coast at Hunter and Central? Let's be great at the next stop. For right now, let's just coast.
Yeah.
That is a weak attitude for life and, of course, sports. So that's all
Man,
I got. A lot of ranting.
well, no, I love that half pound thing. Like if you talk to that kid and you say, what if we just found out a way, like you had, you know, 30 more grams of protein, or you figured out a way to get one more meal in every day, and that 1 pound becomes a pound and a half. Just like figure out what their bench is or whatever over time. That's such a big deal. And I was goofing around with one of our kids the other day. He had this suitcase in his hand. I'm like, what is that? What do you got? A lunchbox there? He's like, no, that's my massage gun. I said, massage gun. I said, what'd you have for breakfast today? He goes,
Yep.
I had a bagel. How many hours of sleep did you get last night? I don't remember. All right, so let's put that massage gun away and let's start working on the low-hanging fruit, the stuff that's really easy to not have to use that massage gun every day because you won't be as sore. You're going to recover better. You're going to do all the things you do. And we can work out harder because you're doing all the right things.
They major
And
in the minors. I got the
yeah, oh,
massage
I love
gun.
that.
I got the massage gun, but what should be in there is two turkey sandwiches and a Jocko protein shake.
Yeah.
Okay. That morning, that bagel, or they only eat what's microwavable. So I
Hmm.
got like this pork roll, egg, and cheese. It's from Costco. I microwave it. Dude, what's in that thing?
Pretty
It
good.
expires 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Okay. It's expiring 2 years from now. So you got to wake up 15 minutes early. Why don't you make some oatmeal, put a little honey on it, put in almonds and even a scoop of protein powder on it, or have a glass of milk to get your protein in. That's a good breakfast. Make 2 eggs, 2 pieces of sourdough toast with cheese or butter on it. Now you made yourself egg and cheese sandwich,
Mhm.
glass of milk. Boom, now we're doing something. Oh, I got practice after school. Have a little Ziploc of trail mix. Have a
Yeah.
peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What was breakfast today? Protein shake, protein bar. Okay, fake food. What was lunch today? Ate the school lunch. Okay, processed junk for the most part. What was after school? Nothing. What's for dinner? Well, lunch was at 10:15, dinner's at 6. 8 hours without food as an athlete, no good.
Nope.
Follow through, do the work, be consistent. Kids don't know what they don't know, but mom and dad need to start knowing. And we put this information out to our parents. They don't read the emails. And so nobody's going to start winning big until they start kicking ass consistently and doing the right thing. And guess what? It's hard.
Yeah.
It's friggin' hard because anything that creates results is hard. Like in training, okay? At the end of the workout, I'll tell kids sleds, carries, arms, but your arms could be pull ups, could be more dumbbell benching, could be more push ups. So I say to them, guys, when I say sleds, carries, arms, and you start curling 20-pound dumbbells, what helps you in sport? Sled, carry, or 20-pound curls? You go right to the easy shit.
Yeah.
Hard stuff first.
I'm with you 1,000%. You see that all the time when it's the easiest thing on the block in the set. Everybody runs to that first one, and it's
I
never
don't
the
get it.
squat. It's never the squat. It's never the bench. It's never the heavy carry. Like I put for the most part, I put percentages on my carry. I'll put percentage of body weight. I said, hey, today I want you to carry 90% of your body weight. If I have a heavy kid, I said, put some weight on the trap bar. Use that. You know what I mean? That's what we want you to do. I want you to struggle a little bit. So if you're a bigger kid, you should be able to handle that. Carry it as far as you can, and let's get that hard first. And this way, all the other stuff, the accessory is going to be that's the dessert. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, and like you
I
said,
say the same thing.
they major in the minors, and they want to
Yep.
go with that first. I love that.
Hey,
I'm gonna use that next week.
get that massage gun, go to your speed and agility, but don't squat because nobody needs to squat. It's just too basic. Let me tell you something. A great squat has a lot of crucial details. And then there's the not so great squat, poor setup, poor stance, walking it out too fast. Feet may not just be too close, but they could be crooked. Bar is placed incorrectly on the traps or not on the traps at all. Depth of the squat is not good. Controlling of the tempo is not good. There's a lot of details that make the difference that, Johnny's dad down the street has no clue about because he's
Mhm.
just copying TikTok and all this BS.
Yeah,
And I'm fired up, Paul. I'm about to burn down the internet.
let's go.
So listen, we're shutting it down. Strength coaches in high schools get on board with the NHS SCA, get certified, build up your knowledge. And of course, I have my certifications. Those are all going to be linked up below here. And I tell parents, if you want to train your kids, then go through the underground strength coach certification. But it never
Absolutely.
ends there. It doesn't like end. I mean, I'm still learning, trying to get better as a coach. And anybody who's a coach out there, draw a line down the sheet of paper. Are all your actions under the column of what is best for the athletes? And same thing with mom and dad. Are you really too busy? Is there really not enough time? Or are you just making excuses and increasing chances of liability and injury for
Mhm.
your son or daughter? And you could do everything right and still get hurt. But if you keep cutting corners, I just don't see how that is a good strategy in sports or in life.
Yeah, let's build some more Stone Cold competitors. Just like the Equalizer 4 coming up. That's gonna be something that's I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to. And number two, I'm glad you called it pork roll and not Taylor ham because
I can't believe some people are
we
calling it Taylor ham.
we would have been arguing.
Yeah, some people up in North Jersey are calling it Taylor ham.
Come on now.
I know.
It's
I should.
pork roll.
It's it's. What about any good movies, Paul? I haven't been. I've been watching actually. It's like the prequel to the what is it called? No, am I saying the Terminal List? It's the prequel to that. So the Terminal List was about a Navy SEAL and his team and his family, and this is the prequel to the Terminal List. It's called, I think, gonna have to look it up. Jack Carr wrote the book about it. I think it's called Dark Wolf or Lone Wolf, but it's pretty good. It's on Amazon Prime. On yeah, it's called The Dark Wolf.
I'll look it up. My wife's getting upset with me because I'm on a kick with John Wick now. He's on the other side of the equalizer.
Check this out. We trained the John Wick director. We train his son.
Get out of here.
He
That's
lives in
awesome.
Spring Lake. So
Let's get
kids
him
always
on.
kids always have like John Wick jokes. I'm like, Charlie, that those jokes must get old. He's like, they do.
Let's
They're like,
get
Jeff.
John Wick on the podcast. Let's go.
Exactly. Yeah. Keanu Reeves. Yep. So Basil Iwaniak, he lives in Spring Lake. Great guy.
Nice.
Son's a baseball player. His older son is a baseball player at Michigan,
Wow.
and his son's a hard worker. We like to see it. We love to see it.
Love it.
All right, my bro. So Dark Wolf, Equalizer 4 coming up. Can't wait. I mean, Denzel is the man. I also love the Denzel video clips about life that he talks about. Doing
Yeah.
the right thing. Some people talk about doing the right thing, post stuff about doing the right thing, but then they are, as I said earlier, unethical
Hmm.
about their own way of doing things. And man, just be a good human, work hard, get strong. Let's go. Eat your steak and eggs,
Hmm.
drink your raw milk. I know people are upset about it because raw milk's illegal in New Jersey, but not up in here.
And don't
All
forget to
right.
put pork roll on your sandwich.
That's right. Pork roll. All right, Paul, hang tight. We'll do a proper goodbye. Everybody go to zachstrength.com. Paul and I are co-directors for NHSCA New Jersey. And we got to connect. I can't remember who we were going to connect with for a location for the state clinic this year. We might just keep going back to Hunter and Central. I don't
Okay.
know. We'll figure something out, but get involved. And that's it, guys. Boom.
Have a
We're out
great
of here.
week.
Talk to you guys soon.